AI is going to impact your jobs. If you're still asking the question whether it will impact or not, it's not a question anymore because it certainly will. It has affected some of the technical roles very badly, some of the management roles as well, and it will keep growing its impact. Maybe the management roles will not be affected to that extent as some of the technical roles, but the impact will certainly be there. But if you ask me, will AI replace XYZ job? Then it's not so black and white that it can be answered so easily. It cannot replace the entire job profile. Rather, it will impact certain areas of every job profile. And that's why in this video, I'm going to talk about the different MBA roles and how much that is going to be impacted by AI. And I'm going to rank them under these categories: at risk, high impact, moderate impact, low impact, and no impact, or some of the roles might be upgraded as well. And before I start, do remember this matrix. On the y-axis, we have low execution to high execution, and on the x-axis, we have low judgment to high judgment. And just remember this matrix for now because we are going to talk about it at the end of the video, and it will give you a very concrete framework to understand how AI is going to impact different roles. And when I talk about the job roles, don't only focus on the category where I'm placing it, but also focus on the reasoning why I'm placing it there, because that will help you understand if you're in that specific role, how can you still save yourself from the AI wave. So let's start this. So let's start with the finance roles. First one is front-end investment banking. So front-end investment banking is kind of a sales role where you're pitching your client to the prospective investors, and the value of transaction is also pretty high, and that's why it's going under low impact. Some of the areas of job, for example, building financial models or stuff, can be replaced, but that's a very small part for a front-end investment banker, and that's why it's going under low impact. Yes, it might happen that out of 10, now we need 9 investment bankers, but that will also depend on the company, whether it will trust AI, whether it will trust the increase in productivity that the same investment banker can take in more clients or not. So at this stage, it is not going to affect, but in future, it might happen that out of 10 people, now I require just 9. Next is backend investment banking, and it's surely going under high impact because if your job is building the models, then AI can double your productivity. So if you require 10 backend investment bankers for a project, now you will require 5 because the same investment bankers can do a lot more, and that's why it's going under high impact. Next is private equity, and that goes under no impact because it involves a lot of high value transaction as well as a lot of decision making at every step, which AI cannot replace. Some of them might argue that private equity analysts or those at the entry level can be replaced. Yes, they can be, but they are already hiring in such small numbers. Some of the top CA rankers, some of the top MBA graduates, they are hired for private equity. Now, if you replace them today, how will you train them for future? And the private equity firms are aware of this. If they replace them today, then it will create a leadership vacuum in the future, and that's why they will not risk doing that now. Next is financial analyst, and just like backend investment banking, it is also under high impact. And if your job is just about dealing with numbers, then it might be at risk as well. But if after dealing with those numbers, you also make certain recommendations, your slide carries certain recommendations, then it will be under high impact at least. Next is venture capital or VC roles. It comes under moderate impact because see, some aspects of the role, for example, the due diligence of the startups as well as evaluating certain startups very fast, that goes out of the picture because now AI agents can do that, can summarize some of the text for you, and as well as can reject some of the startups that are a clear no. So the list that comes to you is kind of a filtered list after AI. But that's having said that, also it is more about intuition, decision making, just like private equity where you're investing your money, and that's why it cannot wholly be replaced. But at the same time, some aspects of the job you will be much more productive. At least those who are just starting out in the VC roles, they will become much more productive, and that's why it goes under moderate impact. I believe some of the VC roles that used to come from MBA tier 2, tier 3 institutions, those are at greater risk, but whereas some of those that comes from MBA tier 1 institution, that will still exist very much, and maybe some of the MBA tier 2 and 3 institutions, if they have the right skills, they will directly graduate to such kind of roles. That's why it comes under moderate impact. Next is equity research analyst, and this I will place at risk. If you see the nature of their job, it's about creating the industry reports, the company reports, making those buy sell recommendations. I see AI disrupting it in real time. And you might say that job will not be replaced, but what will happen is it was a lucrative career at this point of time, paying very highly. But now companies understand that this can be done with AI, so that salary growth will really stagnate. In fact, AI can sometimes do it better than you because if you set up agents, it can pass on live information, feed in real time information, and the models can be upgraded in real time, which might be very difficult for a real human person to be aware of everything happening around the world, everything macroeconomic that is happening. Whereas AI can feed it in real time, and one person can literally do 10 persons job and can sign off on those 10 reports easily. And that is why I feel this is one job which will be at risk. It will not be replaced, but the salary bracket that you were enjoying, that might substantially stagnate now. So after the finance roles, before I move to the next one, let me tell you, if you want to do your MBA for entering in any of these roles, or if you are already working and want to do an online MBA, then first of all, you should be able to compare the different colleges, make sure those colleges are government approved, and that is where the partners of this video can be very useful to you. It's an AI driven platform itself, and that is College Vidya. It's a free platform where only the UGC approved online universities are listed for you to search and compare. Here you get UG, PG, executive MBA, doctorate, and job guarantee programs, and a lot of other things too. आप 100 plus online universities compare कर सकते हो across 30 plus factors like fees, placements, rankings, course content, EMI options, all in 2 minutes for absolutely free. You can also avail free expert career counselling for selecting the best program according to your profile. And post admission, you get placement support worth rupees 5,999 for absolutely free. Job and internship portal access, alumni connect, and free webinars are also there. You can also get the College Vidya Assured feature where the counselors can help you get refund from the university in case you are not satisfied. So there is complete protection too. So currently you are also getting a subsidy of up to rupees 20,000. You can avail it from the link in the description. Next, coming to the product roles and starting with product management, I will place it under low impact. In fact, I could have also placed it under no impact or upgraded one depending on how you decide to upskill in this particular field, but let's place it for low impact now. What's the work that they do? It's basically understanding from the users, the customers, the client, the requirements that they have, understanding their problems, converting those into features, into a technical document, and giving it to the tech team to build those products. Now that empathy part of it, understanding from the users, because most of the time even the client does not know what exactly is the problem, that the product manager has to understand in detail, then convert it into a feature and then give it to the tech team. Yes, the tech team might be impacted because now they can do the things much more productively, but the product manager remains as it is. It acts as the bridge, it remains where it is. However, the expectation from the role might also increase, because now without even knowing coding, you can build certain prototypes of product. You can build the UI UX yourself. You don't have to depend on your tech team to do those. So if you want to build a prototype of a product just to give a demo, UI UX of a product just to give a demo, product manager might be expected to do certain things. If you want to build certain AI agents, you might be expected to do those things as well. So the expectation might increase, and that's why it goes under low impact. But if you can upskill the right way, you might even upgrade your job profile. Next is product analyst, and this job is at risk for the same reason that a product manager's role can be upgraded, because now what product analysts were doing, product managers can do that same job. It might become a part of their job profile that, okay, you are expected to do X and Y, but now you're also expected to act as a product analyst, because now those things can be done very easily with AI. Use AI agents as your product analyst, and that's why this job, product analyst, can be at risk. They use a lot of SQL, work on a lot of data to give and pass the information to product managers so that they can understand what are the different KPIs. They can keep track of the KPIs and understand what more to build. But the product analyst role can now be done with AI, and that's why now either the product analyst role, as a product analyst, you need to upgrade to a product manager, or your job will definitely be at risk. So if you were thinking about getting into such roles after a tier 2 engineering college into product analyst, and then in future you will go to product management, maybe it will be at risk, and now you have to directly come as a product manager after doing your MBA program, or maybe from a tier 1 engineering college. Next, coming to consulting, and consulting we have to talk in tiers. First, starting with the consulting partners. Consulting partners will not be impacted. In fact, their role might get upgraded as well. In the last few years, I've seen certain consulting partners mint great amount of money, because now every client wants help with AI implementation. So a consulting partner comes with great domain knowledge and with very good decision making skills. They are great at making tough decisions, and that's why they are respected as well. So that is a skill that every company now wants, especially wants it more. So a consulting partner with great domain knowledge that will mix with a team which has great AI knowledge and will present that solution to the client, who will integrate that in their workflow. And that's why they are getting more clients, getting more such projects. That's why consulting partners come under no impact. But what about consultants who are 2-3 years into the firm? They will have moderate impact. In fact, it has shown in some of the firms firms where they have laid off certain consultants, and the hiring at the entry level will also decrease to a certain extent. Obviously, it cannot decrease absolutely because you need to train those people who will become middle managers and partners later, for the same reason as I said in private equity. But they used to hire extensively, that number will certainly reduce. That is why they will face moderate impact. And a lot of things that you were doing as a consultant, especially the preliminary research part of it, that can be done with AI. So they have become much more productive, as long as the number of projects also increase exponentially for the consulting firm. Then I don't see that they will keep the same number of people. It's also a matter of fact whether the clients are calling the consulting firms to take more projects or not. And if the business increases, then obviously the numbers will keep rising. Every consultant will become more productive, but the hiring will not stop. But if a certain stage happens where the client says that, okay, we have integrated enough AI in our company itself, and now we don't need the consulting firm for everything, then probably these consultants will suffer a little bit. That's why moderate impact. And all the teams, all the project teams, what you would have seen in the last 2 years, have become leaner. It used to be like one partner, maybe three consultants, four consultants, but now it is usually one partner, two consultant, even one consultant in some of the project. The teams have become leaner. Next are two roles, business analyst and data analyst for consulting firms. So they are basically those aspects of the firm which are not exactly consultants who are making recommendations to the client, but they serve as a junior consultant, you can say. For business analyst, I will place it at high impact because, again, if you are someone who deals with numbers but not someone who can pitch recommendations, then probably you are at risk. And if I think about the role that I was doing before my MBA, I was also a business analyst, and that role is certainly at risk because AI can do anything that I was doing at that point of time. I was pulling out a lot of numbers from SQL, making my algorithm to pull out numbers in the right way. Even if I was very efficient, AI can do it much better than me, and it can obviously normalize. Even if there was an average performer versus a good performer, AI basically neutralizes that difference. So that can be done by AI. I was very good at using Excel as well. That can be done much faster by AI now. So all of the things that I was doing at that point of time can be done by AI. So I don't see how that role would have existed. Maybe I would have had to move to the next level, that is making more business recommendations, rather than only pulling out data and giving it to the consultant. But that's why I see that job is certainly at risk. And for data analyst, I see that the business analyst, I would place it under high impact, but the data analyst, I would put it under at risk, because it is also a kind of a job where you cannot make a lot of recommendations. The nature of the job itself is that you have to deal with large amounts of data, and AI can do with that unstructured data. AI can deal with large amount of data much faster than a data analyst. That's why data analyst goes under at risk. Next, HR roles. And a lot of people say HR is about dealing with humans, interacting with humans, that cannot be replaced with AI. But there are two specific categories. One is an HR. There are a lot of things that HRs do. So one is definitely an aspect that comes into recruitment, talent acquisition, and those things. A lot of those jobs can now be done by AI. They can review the CVs much faster. They can schedule things much faster, and they can set up the entire processes. If you set up the right agents, it can do work much faster than your HR people. And that's why if you're talking about HR in terms of recruitment, talent acquisition and stuff, it is definitely at high impact. Most of the things can be done by AI. But there is another type of HR role, and that is HR business partners, or those who enter into labor relations. If you graduate from Accelerate, you directly get such roles: HR business partner, labor relations. What they do is they interact more with employees, and they act as the point of contact between the leadership as well as these employees. Any job, any problem that these people have, HRBP, HR business partner, is the one who acts as the bridge, who solves that problem for them, regarding compensation, regarding leaves, regarding company policies, and a lot of the regulation compliances in the firm as well. These are the people who maintain it. You cannot depend on AI to take care of the compliances of the firm, to ensure that the employees are being heard and everything. And that's why, yes, you can build an AI bot and everything for responding to common queries, but often those problems are very complicated, and that's why you need HR business partner. You cannot replace them. Usually top tier college people used to get such roles, or if you have worked in HR for a couple of of years, then you get such roles. So that's why HR business partner, or if you are into labor relations, these kind of jobs will be under low impact. Next is sales and marketing, and here the first type of role would be for the FMCG firms, the brand managers, the area sales manager and all, and that goes under no impact or even upgraded. And I believe this is a job profile which can be massively upgraded, because first of all, sales and marketing, you are going on the ground, interacting with the retailers, the distributors, and a lot of those people, when you go to such areas, you will understand the sales officers, when you interact with, they are not even well versed with AI. Even if they are, they need that human touch to create that relationship. That's why these roles are definitely very safe. If you're going on the ground dealing with those retailers, wholesalers, distributors, you have to build those relations. It is very safe. Even in marketing, if you're a brand manager, a lot of the data work that you used to do, yes, you can do it much faster, but now the expectation from you also will be much more, because now the company will not risk it. Every product or every category has that one brand manager that will remain the same. Now as a brand manager, you can do a lot more. If you wanted to test certain ad copies, which one will work, if you wanted to A/B test certain ad copies or campaigns, you can do that much faster. So all of those aspects, you can improve it and you can do a lot more. So the amount of work that you can do now, that will increase, and that's why these people might become even more valuable, I believe. That's why if you're a sales and marketing person in an FMCG firm, you will have absolutely no impact, or even your job profile might get upgraded as well. But if you're a marketing manager in a firm like say Google, Microsoft, and you are especially dealing with a B2B client, selling high value products to those clients, upselling, cross-selling your products with a specific client, then your job might be impacted a little. It might have a moderate impact, because again, the same productivity aspect comes into the picture. If one person was handling one client, now one person can handle probably 2 or 3 clients, because all the KPIs and all the customary operational work that you had to do, that can be done much faster. And it's not about meeting each and every retailer every day, or meeting the distributors every day, or talking to the sales officers every day. It's a very different kind of a job profile when you are doing it for a firm like Google, Microsoft, and dealing with the B2B clients that they have. And that's why it might have a moderate impact, solely because of the purpose of increase in productivity. And now that you know about these roles, let's get back to the framework that I discussed in the starting of the video, that matrix: low execution to high execution, low judgment to high judgment. Now you will see whichever role is high on judgment, that is, you have to take a lot of decisions, that obviously comes under low impact by AI. That will not be impacted much by AI. And if it's high execution, obviously that will be impacted more. But if you see a role like brand manager, it is high on execution and high on judgment as well. That is, you have to work on a lot of campaigns, a lot of data, but at the same time you have to make a lot of decisions as well on the product, the pricing, the positioning of the product, everything you have to decide. And that's why it goes under no impact, or in fact it can be upgraded with AI as well. Similarly, for consulting partners, it's high on execution, high on judgment. Private equity is low on execution but high on judgment, and still it lies under this low impact or no impact in fact. And if you see roles which are very high on execution but low on judgment, for example, the data analyst that I mentioned, business analyst as well, at the same time equity research analyst, it is very high on execution. Yes, you have to take certain decisions as well. There is a bit of judgment involved. However, most of your decision is actually guided by data. You are relying more on data to make that decision. So data actually takes that final call. So it's not about what you work on. It's more about, can you think, can you decide on your particular job? And data can be your assistant to take a particular decision, but it's your intuition, your experience that will guide the final decision. And if you are the decision maker, if you are someone who takes accountability of your decision, the more that happens in your role, the better you are placed in this AI age. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. Make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel, you are missing out on very important videos regarding your career. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That's it for this particular one. See you in the next one.